Lyric Theater's next production hits the Civic Center stage coming up next week. It's West Side Story. Joining me are the two stars from the show, Tony and Maria themselves. Let me get this right. MaryJoanna Grisso, I hope I said that last name right.
Yep.
Grisso. Austin Colby play Tony and Maria. Guys, very nice to meet you. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Both live in New York City, right?
Yes.
And you've come to Oklahoma City for West Side Story. When did you guys get here?
We got here last week, and we've been rehearsing every day.
I was about to say, what have you been doing?
Rehearsing, eating, sleeping.
Yeah, going to the pool.
Routine.
I was about to say, enjoying the Oklahoma City heat.
Oh, yeah.
It's so hot here.
I mean, New York City can be steamy during the summer too, but this is just kind of an oppressive, mean kind of.
It just feels like someone's hand is on you when you walk outside, and you're like, I can't breathe. But it is great for your voice because the humidity is like, it's there.
I've never heard that.
It's
I'll
bad for your hair, good for the voice.
All right, so very cool. How have rehearsals gone? I'm assuming you're in rehearsal. I've been seeing the photos that Michael Brash was sitting over there on the Instagram page. Stages are being built. I'm assuming rehearsals are underway. How are they going?
It's going very well. I think everybody, got to rehearsal and they say hit the ground running. We're hitting the ground sprinting because we don't have much time to put up this humongous show, and everybody's all hands are on deck. It's really great.
Yeah, at the end of our first week, which Austin wasn't even able to come until the end of the week because
I came late.
He was busy being a star on another show. And thankfully, he and I have done the show together twice before. And there's other members of us, like we both worked with Matthew Gardner before, the director. And there's we worked together at Signature Theater in DC, so we have other Signature West Siders. I did the national tour. We have other national tour West Siders. So we have there's sort of a family within the family of West Side, and you start to rotate with one another. So that's really helpful to have some of those relationships already established.
Yeah. But that takes a little bit of time to get the team back together and everybody kind of, I remember how you play and how you act, right?
Absolutely. But literally by the end of week one, you had been there 2 days and we did an Act 1 run. We did all of Act 1 and we were shocked when we saw everyone else and all the work that they had done because we've done it before. So as much as we do need to bring it back and get everything back in your body and stuff, you're like, oh my God, all these kids are learning this for the first time that are in all of these numbers and they're killing it. So yeah, and then today we're doing the whole show. So.
Is West Side Story more challenging perhaps than other shows because of the amount of dancing? And I asked that question out of ignorance. Is that true or not?
Absolutely. I mean, I think every show has its challenges. This one, it not only has incredible dancing, the music is so challenging to learn and to perform so many times a week. Also the emotional gravity of the story. It's, if you don't know it, it's based on Romeo and Juliet, and so it is a tragedy. And to be able to perform that material every day and then kind of shake it off after rehearsal or after a show can be challenging. But if we do it right, it's gonna really hit home with a lot of audience members.
And I think another reason, I'm really partial to West Side. It's my absolute favorite show in the whole world.
You've done it 1 or 2 times, right?
This is 607 Marias or something.
Not that you're counting. 607.
Yeah, and you've done it. He's been Tony a lot of times as well.
I don't think I've broken 100 yet.
Not yet. By 3 productions, but yeah, I have. And we have other people in the cast. I think our action, Ryan Fitzgerald, I'm sure he's in the hundreds. But this show is so challenging because of what Austin said. As an artist, it's so challenging, but as a human being, it's so challenging, especially with everything that's going on in the world at all times. This show is so sadly relevant constantly. And when we sit down and we talk about it, the other night a bunch of the cast members were talking about it around a dinner table. We were all getting emotional about what's going on in the world and in politics and just among humans and how we treat each other, and that we don't learn. And we're still doing this show that was around in 1957, and it was so relevant then, and it's even more relevant now. We've had, when we say certain things in the show, about immigration or about police officers or the color of people's skin or race,
sexual assault, gender
equality,
identification.
Equality and respect and kindness to your fellow human being. People literally laugh in the audience, not in a way that it's funny, it's so shocking how relevant it is. So West Side is exhausting in that sense, but also like so energizing, because at least for me, I feel like it's so great to be an artist and be creating, but it's also great to be putting out a message that I really believe in and that's very necessary and important.
It was interesting, in doing a little bit of research for this interview, I was reading back in the 50s when they were writing and producing this show, they were like, hey, this is contextually relevant to what's going on in the 50s because of gang violence, but it really has transcended, 60, 70 years later into, as you said, and I think that's the perfect word, humans. If someone looks different, talks different, sounds different, or from a different background, for some reason there's some sort of isolation or wall, it's still a relevant message to today.
Yeah, so true.
Something else back then, when they were trying to cast this, they were saying, this is going to be tough because of all the dancing and acting and singing. We can't find people like that. You guys are up and coming in the theater world. Isn't that a given these days, that you need to be a utility person well skilled at singing and acting and dancing? You just have to have those skills, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And you have to know what your skills are.
Yes.
In this business, they talk about type. So like there's the way you look and what your skills you have, you fall into a category of a type. So Tony, leading man, is a type. And so I have to know what skills I have and what skills are necessary to stay in that type and keep those skills sharp. My type might dance a little bit, but isn't known for its dancing, and so.
Gotcha.
But there may be roles that I need to play, but there are other types that require comedic timing and dancing and physical humor, physical acrobatics. I mean, anything really, and to know what you can bring to the table and being confident in that really does help with your auditioning and with what you perform and present on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's similar for me too. I mean, typically when you get into like bigger singing roles, acting to me is always like at the forefront. Like if you have to be an actor to step on stage. And then depending on if you're going to be a really big singer in a show or if you're going to be a dancer, like Austin said, you have to really know where your skills lie and then enhance those skills with training and training and training and training. And it definitely helps if you're a triple threat. Like it just 100% widens your net. But there's something to be said for if like I am not a huge dancer, I have to be a good mover, and we've had to dance in the show before, and we will in this production very lightly compared to the other dancers. But if you're someone like Anita, she has to sing and dance and act and scream and cry and do everything. Yeah. And it's just so amazing to watch these people and all of the ensemble members who are dancing their faces off and singing their hearts out and giving so much from their hearts in acting. Like it really does help if you are a triple threat. So you have to make sure that you're training on all levels to be competitive in the field, because there's just so many talented people.
All right, so you're going through rehearsal West Side Story, the Civic Center Music Hall, coming up next week, beginning Tuesday, runs through Saturday, 600 plus shows of West Side Story. How is this different? I believe original choreographies, the 60th anniversary of this, all sorts of things there. So how is this show different from other West Side Stories you've done?
It's always different because you have a new cast and a new director. And it's wonderful that I'm returning to Matthew Gardner, that we are being able to return to him and to each other, which is such a blessing, especially because I love working with Austin because he's wonderful. But it's always a different feel because of where you are. I mean, the audiences in Oklahoma City are going to be different than the audiences in Pennsylvania or in New York. Or
different size theaters as well.
Different size theater, absolutely. One of the most recent productions that we did together was at Signature Theater in DC, and the stage was a thrust, and the audience was much closer to us, and the lyric is so big and so beautiful, and I think that there's something so romantic and grand and exciting about that. And so we were just talking about this on the way over here, that we have to find ways to exist in a bigger space, and so that'll be something that we go through together that's fun and that the whole cast will go through. But it's always different because it's a different group of people.
All right, questions for you guys. Austin, you are engaged. Congratulations.
I am, thank you.
How are things going?
Great. Wedding planning is always a challenge, but she and I are very much a team and handling it pretty well. We're we're dealing with both being actors. We sometimes, the majority of our relationship has been long distance. And so
And she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable. She's a star.
You are married.
Yes.
Significant others back in New York City for both of you, or yes, no?
My fiance is actually working, finishing at the Muni. Her last show was last night at the Muni. She did All Shook Up, and then she'll be going to Cape Cod at the Cape Playhouse to play Louise and Gypsy. So it's kind of like you live in New York City, but you work elsewhere. So
Gotcha.
that's where you audition. Those are where people can see you for jobs and stuff, and then you work elsewhere or you work on Broadway. And so it's kind of like, I saw her on Monday for 24 hours, and I hadn't seen her for 3 weeks, and then I won't see her again for another 3 weeks. But those 24 hours are so important, and it's kind of like a no-brainer. You make it work, and it's great to have a teammate who is in the business and understands what you're going through, and understands, tonight I'm not going to really be able to talk on the phone for very long because my voice is tired or I'm tired. It's like, great, I'll talk to you soon. Rest up. You got a lot of work to do, and it's I couldn't ask for a better partner.
It's nice to find a companion you can share life's experiences with, especially if you're in kind of the same environment. They understand to some degree what you're going through.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the husband is...
Same for me. My husband's an actor, and he's also a composer. And he actually did the tour of West Side with me for a year, and that was amazing.
Is that good or bad?
It was amazing.
Okay, it was great.
So wonderful. And we got engaged on tour, and it was a huge blessing.
Was it on stage?
No, it was on a glacier in Alaska.
Isn't that amazing?
It was amazing. It was pretty special. He's a very creative guy. He's a writer, so
on a glacier.
On a glacier.
There's probably like a handful of people who've actually done that.
It was amazing. It was one of the best moments of my life.
Great story.
Yeah,
Way to go, Matthew Webster.
Yeah, his name is Matthew Webster. He's wonderful, and Caroline Bowman is Austin's fiance, and we're really lucky because all four of us have been able to hang out and collaborate with each other. My husband just wrote a new adaptation of Cinderella that was done with the American Pops in DC, and Austin and I got to do the show together, and his fiance Caroline has sung some of the music that my husband's written. So it's just really great when you can meet other couples, especially when you have to work so closely together and be romantic with someone on stage. And then, it's really nice when you can be friends with each other's significant others and all be together and understand, and especially that we're all performers in the business and can understand and respect and encourage each other. But yeah, so my husband's going to come see the show on opening night.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, good segue there. Opening night will be Tuesday over at the Civic Center Music Hall. You have performed a couple other things I wanted to ask you about. MTV Show Choir and Triumph the Insult Comic Dog, Mozart's Requiem at Carnegie Hall, and the national anthem at the Cubs game.
Yes.
You're all over the place.
It's an interesting palette of a resume. I know. Yeah.
But that's also, I'm guessing, part of the fun and intrigue of you guys' career is that you get to do such different things, and suddenly you're looking at 20, 30,000 people at Wrigley Field going, I'm about to sing the national anthem, song everybody knows the words to.
And that was one of the most fun experiences of my life, and the most nerve-wracking. I was so nervous and so excited and so thrilled, and I ate so many hot dogs when I was done because I felt so relieved. It was amazing. I did it while I was on the West Side tour, and they were able to facilitate the anthem being sung for the Cubs, and my whole cast came and cheered for me, and it was just amazing.
Well, I was going to ask you guys that. Do you ever get nervous, or is there a specific type of performance that would make you more nervous than otherwise?
I still have anxiety when going out on stage. I think most of the time it's just because we want everything to go well, and we want to really truly tell the story honestly, and there's so much that is not predictable about.
And you're so vulnerable on stage.
Absolutely, and I think with those nerves helps the performance.
Sure.
Really.
Some sort of energy comes from that.
Absolutely.
It means you care. My husband always says that. He's like, if you're nervous, it means you care. I mean, if it's to an extent that you can't control yourself and can't do your job, then maybe performing isn't for you. But we certainly are human and have moments where, at least for me, where I definitely feel nervous. But I think, when you are doing a show that you really love and you get to be with people that you work really well with and that you can trust on stage, that definitely brings down, it's not as much of fear of failure, it's just the excitement and the nerves of wanting to do a good job.
Yeah. Last question for you too, it's a silly question, but any tips on snapping?
Can you not snap?
Well, I can snap, but I mean, is there a preferred way of snapping when you're in West Side Story?
Don't be sweaty.
Don't be sweaty.
Which is really hard because they dance their faces off, and I
Yeah.
feel like when they're sweaty, it's like
Yeah.
hard to get grip.
Gotcha.
I feel like in some productions we've had some jet boys who can't snap, but they're still doing this. Like
Yeah, probably because they're sweaty.
they're sweaty. Yeah. I mean, I think
Would
maybe
another,
it's a
would
genetic.
another member of the Jets make fun of a fellow member if they can't snap? Hey, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah,
I'm
you're out.
sure.
You're out of the gang.
You're out.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's like their audition to get in the gang. They have to
That's part of it.
Proper
Is
snap.
the dance call, the snap call,
the whistle call.
the whistle call.
Yeah,
the
they have to whistle too.
I can see where that would be a little more challenging.
That's
I
hard.
would think so.
That's hard.
Yeah, I'm not a good whistler.
Yeah, I would not be a projecting type of whistler.
Would you be a jet or would you be a shark?
Probably more of a shark. I think so.
Yeah, purple tie.
All right. These two are a lot of fun. Go see them. Lyric Theater's production of West Side Story starts July 25th, Tuesday, runs through Saturday, all next week. The Civic Center Music Hall. Tickets can be found online at lyrictheaterokc.com. Mary, Joanna, Grisso, Austin, Colby. Great to meet you guys. Enjoy
Great to
the
meet you.
conversation.
You too.
Have fun while you're here in Oklahoma City.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.